He said I was too boring for him. So when he threw his big party, I decided to show up, with someone better. And when he saw who I walked in with, let's just say his fun life didn't look so exciting anymore. When I first met Ethan, I thought he was the most charming man alive. He had that kind of energy that pulled people toward him. The confident laugh, the playful grin, the way he could make anyone feel like they were the only one in the room. I was quiet, more reserved, the kind of person who liked cozy nights in overcrowded bars. But somehow he made me feel alive. At first, our differences seemed perfect. He'd drag me to rooftop parties and bonfires, and I'd pull him into slow mornings with pancakes and soft music. I thought we balanced each other out, his chaos to my calm. But over time that balance started tipping. It began with little comments. "You never want to go out anymore, Liv. God, you're such a grandma sometimes." Or the one that still echoes in my head, "You're kinda boring, you know that?" He'd laugh when he said it, but I could feel the sting every time. I'd try harder, dressing up more, pretending to love the loud parties, forcing smiles when his friends were around. But no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. The turning point came on a Friday night. Ethan was throwing a huge party at his apartment to celebrate life, as he called it. He didn't even invite me properly, just mentioned it in passing. "Yeah, everyone's coming Friday. You can come if you want, babe. But it's gonna be wild." I showed up anyway, dressed in my nicest outfit, ready to prove I could fit in with his world. But the moment I walked in, I could tell I didn't belong. Music blasted so loud my chest rattled. People danced with drinks spilling from their hands, and Ethan, my boyfriend, was in the middle of it all, dancing with a girl I'd never seen before. She was everything I wasn't. Loud, confident, the life of the party. When he noticed me, his smile faltered for half a second before he said, "Oh, hey Liv. Didn't think you'd actually come." His words cut deeper than I wanted to admit. That night I went home early. I cried. Not because he embarrassed me, but because I realized something painful. I had been shrinking myself just to fit into his world while he never cared to fit into mine. So I decided to stop trying. I stopped texting him first. I stopped going to every event. I even started saying no when he called last minute to hang out. It was strange at first, freeing even. That's when I met Ryan. Ryan was the exact opposite of Ethan. He worked at the same company as me, a quiet but confident graphic designer who loved books, photography, and hiking. We met over coffee during a project meeting, and I instantly noticed how easy it was to talk to him. He actually listened. When I mentioned I loved stargazing, he didn't roll his eyes. He told me about a spot outside the city where you could see the Milky Way if the night was clear. For the first time in months, I felt seen. Meanwhile, Ethan started noticing my distance. Suddenly, he was calling again, asking where I'd been, telling me he missed us. But it wasn't real concern, it was control. He didn't like that I wasn't orbiting him anymore. One day I ran into one of his friends at a cafe. She leaned in and said, "Oh, you're coming to Ethan's big house party this weekend, right? He told everyone it's gonna be wild, said he's moving on now." That stung. But instead of feeling sad, I smiled. Because by then I had already moved on. I told Ryan about it half jokingly, and he smirked. "You should go," he said. "Why would I?" "Because you're not the same girl who left his party crying," he replied. "You're stronger now." Something in me clicked. Maybe it was time for Ethan to see that. The night of the party, I stood in front of my mirror for almost an hour. Not to impress Ethan, but to remind myself who I had become. I wore a sleek black dress, the kind that made me feel powerful, not pretty. And yes, I asked Ryan to come with me. He looked effortlessly good in that unbothered way he always did. "You sure you want to do this?" he asked as we pulled up to the house. "Absolutely," I said, smiling. The moment we walked in, every head turned. Ethan froze mid-sentence, his beer halfway to his lips. I could almost hear his thoughts. "Liv?" he said, walking up to me, his eyes darting between me and Ryan. "You came." "Of course," I said smoothly. "I heard it was going to be wild." Ryan slipped his hand around my waist, not possessively, just protectively. Ethan's jaw tightened. His new girl, the same one from before, stood awkwardly beside him, sensing the tension. I could feel the room buzzing. People whispered. Ethan tried to laugh it off. "Wow, you look different." "I feel different," I said simply. He smirked, trying to reclaim control. "So who's this?" "This is Ryan," I said, smiling. "My boyfriend." His face went pale. For once, the man who never ran out of words was completely silent. The rest of the night felt surreal. Everywhere I went, people complimented me, told me how happy I looked, how they hadn't seen me around in forever. Ethan kept watching, trying to insert himself into conversations, but Ryan handled it perfectly, polite, confident, completely unbothered. At one point, Ethan cornered me in the kitchen. "So, you're really dating this guy?" "Yes." He scoffed. "Come on, Liv. He's not your type. You like fun, remember?" I looked at him, calm and certain. "No, Ethan. I like fun. I like peace." That line hit him harder than I expected. He stood there, speechless, while I walked away. As the night went on, I realized something profound. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about making him jealous. It was about reclaiming my voice after months of being made to feel small. When we finally left, Ryan looked at me and said, "You okay?" I smiled. "Better than ever." A few days later, I got a message from Ethan. Just 3 words: "You changed, Liv." I typed back slowly. "I finally grew up." He never replied. And honestly, I didn't need him to. Weeks passed and my life kept getting brighter. Ryan and I started traveling together, hiking trails, watching stars from mountaintops. I stopped pretending to be someone else to earn love. Because real love doesn't demand you change who you are. Sometimes I still think about that first party, how small I felt standing in a crowd that didn't see me. And then I remember the night I walked back into that same kind of room, tall, confident, and free. They called me boring. Turns out, peace just isn't entertaining for people who thrive on chaos. But for me, it's everything.